Hi, this is Sir Walter Mack, breaking bread with Bishop at the Union Baptist Church. Can I tell you that I am doing something that I don't do often, and that is I have you in my home, my personal space. That's just what this pandemic is doing. This is forcing us to do things that we typically don't do. I'm really a very private person, and so my home space is private for me, and so I typically don't do this. There are some pastors who do this quite naturally, but I'm not one of those, and so I try to draw that line between what I do for work and what I do in my home, because I like my home to be my home. As a matter of fact, I don't have a lot of church artifact in my home, because when I'm at home, I don't want to think about church and work and that kind of thing. I like to relax. We like to relax. And so I tell you what, you are in my private space. You are in the workshop. This is where I keep a lot of my books. I got books around my office here, and matter of fact, I've been reading some stuff. I'm getting ready to do. I got to preach for United Theological Seminary, and I got to do the graduation service there in September. So I'm getting ready for that. Got some books I'm reading. Epitaphs of an Eagle Preacher. It's a great book. Also, I'm dealing with the alleged discrepancies of the Bible. This is really interesting, where you look at all of the discrepancies of the Bible, and as I'm looking at some social justice stuff, reading Dr. Charles Edward Booth's book, Stronger in Broken Places, and so you're in the workshop. But let me tell you what I'm going to talk about today. I want to talk about Zoom salvation and mental sanity. That's what I want to talk about. And I'm doing it from my home because I am having to manage ministry and most of my life from right here in my house. Okay? And that is just amazing. I've never had to do that before in my life. And I want to talk about this because what I am discovering is that that Zoom is becoming a way of life. And there are some people who are just enjoying it, and I am enjoying it, and I understand that we have to do this right now. But then there are some people who are on the edge, and they're saying, if I have to do one more Zoom call, I'm gonna lose my mind, and I have been there. So I want to talk about Zoom salvation and mental sanity. That's what I want to deal with today. And because even with Zoom, we have to put this in some theological perspective in terms of how we understand our role as the church, and put that in proper place for us and perspective for what it means to have Zoom as a part of what God is doing with the church in this pandemic today. So let's talk about this Zoom salvation and mental sanity, all right? So let's deal with this. First of all, I want you to know that Zoom comes and brings salvation for the church today. Salvation in the Bible is deliverance. And in some way, of course, we understand deliverance to be a spiritual means, that Jesus Christ came to deliver us from sin. We do know that. And so in the New Testament, we understand that Christ came and he died, and that he suffered death, that we should be saved and that we should be redeemed. So we understand the spiritual concept of deliverance and salvation, but that's not what I'm dealing with. I'm talking about deliverance and salvation to be rescued. Zoom came in, and if we did not have this form of technology, the church would be in trouble today. And so then that's why I like the scripture in Psalm 104, verse 24. And it says, "O Lord, how manifold are your works. In wisdom have you made them all. The earth is full of your creation." The one thing that I want you to understand is that Zoom comes to bring salvation to us today. Not salvation from the perspective of it can save you from your sin nature. I want you to get that straight. But it comes to bring rescue. It comes to bring relief for the church today. If we did not have this form of ministry, many of our ministries would be in trouble. And so now we're able to do Bible studies. We're able to do prayer gatherings. We're able to do meetings. We're able to do worship services, all because of Zoom. Amen, somebody. We're able to do face-to-face. The Bible says, "Forsake not the assembly of the saints," so that we're not able to gather in churches today. Some of our churches are still not able to get together. So we're not able to do that, but we can still interface face to face. So Zoom is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It is a good thing. All right. It is a good thing. It comes to bring rescue. All right. Now, let's go a step further. However, I have been to this place where I have stated, if I have one more Zoom meeting, I will lose my mind. I have been to that place where I've been on so many Zoom calls. One day, I think I had at least 4 Zoom calls. And so what I wanted to talk about today was that Zoom even has to have boundaries. You have to have boundaries even for getting on Zoom calls and even using this mechanism that we have to use today because of this pandemic. And so then now, because if you're not careful, you can easily work in burnout. Psalm 16, verse 6 says, "The lines have fallen to me in pleasant places. Indeed, my heritage is beautiful to me." Okay? So then now, what I like about that particular scripture is that the psalmist understands that God works in boundaries, And I'm getting ready to show you that it is important that as you are functioning with a Zoom today and use of technology while we're trying to manage this transition, you have to establish boundaries. Okay, you have to establish boundaries. That's so important. I want you to look at that graph that I'm showing you right now on the screen. All right, if you look at the brain A, that's what your brain looks like before you begin to take in 90 minutes of information. You see a great variation of color, all right? You see that? Now then look at graph B. That's what your brain looks like after 90 minutes of information. You see where the information begins to cloud. It begins to run together, all right? And so I remember some time ago, I had gone from one meeting to the next, and by the third meeting, I mean, it was like somebody was talking like Charlie Brown with marshmallows in his mouth. I mean, I wasn't even listening. I was just on the call, and I was just sitting there, and I was detached, could not process because I was burnt out from Zoom calls. Are you hearing me? And so then now, look at this next graph. So here's what you have to do to establish boundaries. And this is not just for Zoom, but this is what professionals recommend in terms of you establishing boundaries even for work process, okay? So we have to move from saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do in an 8-hour day, And now what the recommendation is that you have to say, this is what I'm going to do in a 90-minute interval, all right? Because the brain processes in 90 minutes, and then after 90 minutes, you have to take a 20-minute break, all right? And then go back to something for 90 minutes, then take a 20-minute break, 90 minutes, 20-minute break. So I'm showing you that graph because you're able to process better, all right? So then now, here's what you have to do. If you are on Zoom back to back, all right, it is very important that you take breaks. Some people have to be on Zoom all day for their job. It's important that you negotiate breaks. You have to tell some employees that, hey, listen, I need a break. I need to get off of this call. I need to go walk outside. I need to go get some fresh air. I need to drink a cup of coffee. You have to sometimes tell people that because your mind cannot process all of that. Are you hearing me? And so that's very important. Now, here are my priorities. Here are my priorities for Zoom calls because even after work, there are going to be people who load you up with a whole bunch of calls, all right? And so then you got your friends, they want to do a call. Then you got your sorority, your fraternity, they want to do a call. Then you got your Masonic Lodge, and then your Eastern Stars, they want to do a call. And then you got the neighborhood club, they want to do a call. Everybody want to do a call. The Black Lives Matter, they want to do it. Everybody want to do a call. So you have to negotiate what it is that you're going to give your energy to. Very important. So here are my priorities, okay? My first priority is, one, I give my energy to my work, all right? My work is very important. My work involves ministry, research, biblical study, all right? Interaction with my staff, my congregation, prayer calls, etc. We have Zoom church, so we have calls throughout the week. That involves work for me, so that's a priority for me. All right, that's a priority for me. Secondly, my priorities involve that work for me, and then my priorities also involve my family, all right? Anytime my family wants to do a Zoom call, that's a priority for me, all right? And then, so then after work, then it becomes family, and then it becomes other calls such as organizations that I'm a part of. I'm a part of Global United Fellowship. I'm a part of Kappa Alpha Psi. I'm a part of other organizations. Those are priorities for me, all right? Now, anything else from that point, you know, you have to kind of go in and negotiate, and sometimes you have to say, listen, I'm giving 30 minutes to this call, all right? Because some people will hold you on the call for 4 hours because they have nothing else to do, all right? But you have to say, listen, I can be on this call 30 minutes, I can be on this call 45 minutes, and stick to that. That's very important. You have to manage that, all right? Draw those boundaries so that you can experience what mental sanity, you can keep your sanity in this process, all right? So Zoom should have boundaries to help keep your sanity. Is very important for that, all right? Then last, not last, but then next, Zoom, let's talk about Zoom and the Christian atmosphere. That's what I want to talk about now, okay? Zoom and the Christian atmosphere. Now, if you're doing Zoom calls from your home, make sure that you have enough upload megabytes, I guess that's what they call it, or and download megabytes, if that's what they call those. I'm not keen on that, but I do know that there's a difference between upload power and download power, okay? And the reason I know that is because I did a call from my home some time ago, and I was lagging through the call. And when I called our IT guy, Carlos, and afterwards he says, Doc, I want you to go onto this site. I went onto this site with Spectrum, and I went out there, and I was able to actually see that I didn't have enough upload power in my home, which means that I had enough download but not enough upload, which means that there was a lag in my presentation. So I had to call and order another modem and all that kind of stuff. So make sure that you have enough power to do a Zoom call from your location. That's very important. Have you ever seen people talking and it's like those old movies, those old Asian movies that we used to watch where the sound be going over and they going.
Professor, they say Godzilla's a mutation. A monster made by intense radioactivity. Professor, is that true?
He's a product of civilization. Men are the only real monsters.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen of the...
It's because something is off, all right? And you got to make sure that you have enough feed coming through and going out. It's very important, all right? Secondly, I want to say to you, the atmosphere. Now, I'm going to say this, and I want y'all to get this, that as a Christian, you got to make sure that you don't have in your background, you can't be on a business call with your negligee hanging on the door in the background. You can't do that, all right? You're a Christian. And if you are in a meeting and your nightgown is hanging in the background on the door, or your pajamas, all right, that is very distractive to your work culture, or anybody, all right? You cannot have your two-piece. Come on now, talk back to me. You can't have your two-piece hanging on the door, or be careful of the pictures that you have in your background. Now, some of y'all may have some stuff in your house that's just for your house. Some of those pictures that, hey, they ain't set for the world to see. Are you hearing me? That's for you and your husband. That's for you and your wife. They ain't set for everybody to see. And you can't have that stuff in your background in your home. Another thing is this. Now, if you're a Christian, all right, and you're doing a Zoom call, I wouldn't necessarily do a Zoom call in your bedroom. I think that's very inappropriate. Now, let's do it this way. Let's just say it this way. And I know somebody going to put some out there and say, well, what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that? Well, let's just put it this way. If I came to your home for a meeting, you're not going to have a meeting in your bedroom, all right? All right? So if anybody comes to your house for a meeting, you're not going to have a meeting in your bedroom. So then the setting should be such that it is conducive to the business nature of what you're trying to deal with, all right? So now I have you in my office because I'm trying to talk business to you. I'm trying to deal with a subject matter here, and that's important. I could have easily taken you to another relaxing area of my home, and that would have been fine. But you ain't going to my bedroom. Are you hearing me? Nor am I taking you into my bathroom. I'm not taking this camera. Bobby is not taking this camera in my bathroom. That's not appropriate, okay? So then I'm just talking about atmosphere and Zoom calls, all right? Go ahead, put some in the chat box there. Yep. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about atmosphere. I don't think a Christian ought to have skulls and all this blood and shooting and all that stuff in the background. I think that Jesus is the light of the world. And I think that your backgrounds should represent something that is optimistic of the kingdom. Are you hearing me? Optimistic of the kingdom. And that you should not have in your background anything that can be offensive or does not represent the blood washness of your life. And so just be very careful of that. Also, make sure you got plenty of light. Okay, I've seen people go on Zoom call and you can't even see them. All right, you gotta have some light, man. Put some light on you so we can see you. All right, put some light on you. So we're just talking about Zoom and presenting yourself the right way. Nothing wrong with nice backgrounds. I've seen in the setting, I saw a Zoom call the other day. It was a birthday party, and some couples had candles and that kind of thing, but it was a dinner setting, and that was very appropriate for that particular setting. All right, nothing offensive about it, nothing wrong with that. It was very appropriate, and so that was very appropriate. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you cannot be a Christian, and we don't want to see your Brazil on the door in the Zoom call. No, we don't want to see that. Now, we just don't want to see that. Now, so we're talking about atmosphere. So let's talk about, and we'll be done in this in just a few minutes. Let's talk a little bit about the Zoom call and your Christian character. Your Christian character is very important. And this is not going to be a long message. It's not going to be a long message. I'm going to tell you something that happened to me, and some of you all probably remember this. It was my very first Zoom call that I did. I actually literally taught myself how to do Zoom. And so I was just playing around with it. And so I taught myself how to do Zoom. And, I want to urge people, pastors, man, don't shun from this. This is going to be the way of life for a long time. And so, man, learn how to do this stuff. If I taught me how to do it, you can teach you how to do it. It can be, it's just that easy. I have my whole staff. I told my whole staff I want them to master learning Zoom. We have church leaders that's learning Zoom. My mother, who is 90 years old, and she's on Zoom calls, all right? And so it's very important. So let me just talk a little bit about this, and I'm going to tell you something about a fast that we're going to be doing. But anyway, I want to talk about the character and your character in Zoom in terms of salvation and sanity, all right? So I was doing this Zoom call, my very first one. I wanted to do a Bible study. And so I have some people who are very proficient with it. And they said, Bishop, you need to have somebody who's managing this, all right? So, sometimes you can't tell pastors much. Sometimes we just think we just know a little bit too much. And so my response to them was, I don't really need nobody managers. I got this. And so that was my word to them. I got this. I'm good. I'm good. Well, I go on this call thinking I'm good. And within 20 seconds of being on the call, I was hacked. And so this screen comes up during this Bible study. A screen comes up with all of these naked pictures and these cuss words and this loud music with a lot of curse words in it and racial insults and these naked pictures coming across the screen. And man, I didn't know what was going on, because don't forget, I'm the pastor and I got this. All right. So I'm getting texts on my phone, right? And so the same people that I told I had this, they sitting there texting me talking about, you have been hacked. All right. Then now they telling me what to do. So by this time, they're telling me what I need to do. And now that I got egg on my face, I'm listening to them. What is it about us that we have to wait until we fall on our face before we pay attention to what we should have been paying attention to the first time? So then now, for my own sanity, I listen to what they say, and they tell me exactly what to do. I did exactly what they told me to do. We shut down the call, and this time we go back on, and I listened to what they said, and I made them the managers of my call. What I'm trying to tell you is, it was so interesting that when that happened, everybody on that call knew that wasn't my PowerPoint. Whatever was on that screen did not match my character. And what I'm telling you is that as you are on these Zoom calls, your Zoom calls need to match your Christian character. Now, I'm telling you this because there are all kinds of Zoom calls you can be invited to. There are people who are having parties, and that's fine. Celebrations, that's fine. But then just know the company of people that you have been invited to be among. So as a Christian, Romans 14:16 says, don't let your good be evil spoken of. Which means that when you're going on a Zoom call, you might be on with some of your sorority or fraternity brothers or sisters, whatnot, right? All right, and that's cool. But if you're on that call, or let's say just another social club, and if somebody gets on that call and they start cussing, they start saying some things, they start doing some things. Somebody told me that somebody had a Zoom call where they were trying to see who had the biggest blunts, who had the biggest, the weed blunt, okay? All right? Now, you go on those kind of calls, just know this. People take pictures, your face is out there, and that's all they know of you. Your face, your name is there, and whatever that other person is doing on that call, you are attached to that. So you have to be very careful and guard your reputation, guard your character, guard your spirit, all right? Even in the midst of a Zoom call. And so if you're invited to be a part of a party, know the character of the person is inviting you, right? And then, hey, if you know that this person is kind of risque and they are known to have mixed company, and man, you might say, look, I might check in, and but I may not be able to stay long. Because if somebody's on there and you're a Christian and you're a leader in your church, you're a deacon in your church, you're a steward in your church, you're a trustee in your church, you're an usher in your church, you're a praise team leader in your church, and you go on the call and somebody is sitting there on the table in their own home with bourbon on the table, smoking a blunt, and y'all on the same call, and your name, your picture comes up beside that picture, your picture's beside theirs, they're going to attach you to that too. Are you hearing me? And you're not being judgmental, all right, in the sense of thinking that you're better than somebody. But Christians have to have a standard. And in this world of Zoom, all right, our salvation, I'm talking about the spiritual salvation now, ought to call us to a higher place. And we ought to be called to a greater place whereby we are the light of the world and we're leading others to a place of deliverance where they can look into our lives and say, I want what they have, okay? And in doing that, we help others maintain their sanity while we maintain ours. Beloved, I have enjoyed this Bible study. Let me announce to the Union Baptist Church family, and even to some of you, in a few more weeks, you're going to hear that because people are bombarded with technology today, Union Baptist is going to be entering into a technology fast. We're going to be taking a week where we just break away from technology, and we're going to be asking our members to just give their mind, their spirit a time to just be refreshed from just simply the presence of God. No Zoom calls, no going on to get any Bible studies or anything like that. We're just going to take a break and just have people to replenish their spirit with prayer, with fasting, with meditation, and just the presence of God. We're going to still have worship and that kind of thing, but just the extra stuff. We're going to be asking people to just kind of break away from technology so that they can clear their spirit. And we'll invite you to join us too. For those of you that want to join us, it'll be in August, and you'll hear more about that. We'll promote that. Let me also say that this coming week on Friday and Saturday, we have free testing for COVID right at the church, 1200 North Trade Street. Come and be tested for free from 5 to 8 on Friday and from 9 to 12 on Saturday. It's so easy. All you have to do is drive up, sit in your car, and it's a very simple process, and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. No pain. Just come and be tested, and bring some friends with you. Invite friends to come and share. On Sunday, for our worship, we will have communion. You can join in with that. But don't forget now, listen, manage this Zoom thing, but let's thank God for it at the same time. God has been good. Maintain your mental sanity, and just know we love you, and we can't wait until we meet again. God bless you, and thank you for joining me right here in my workspace. God bless you.
Hello. First of all, we want to thank you so much for your generous support so that we can continue to operate in excellence. The following are ways to give tithes and offerings using technology. Use the Push Pay app or go to Giving page on the Union Baptist website. Use the Cash app, which is $UBC 1200 Trade. Use the Givelify app, Union Baptist Church, Winston-Salem. For Rise Up giving, please use the designated Cash app, $Union Baptist Rise Up. If you don't use technology for giving, you may bring your tithes, offering, and Rise Up campaign payments on Sundays from 10 a.m. till noon. Envelopes will be available. Or you can mail checks only. No cash, only checks to 1200 North Trade Street, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27101. Stay engaged. Join us for our weekly Zoom Connect programs. Each day, there is a way for you to engage with your Union Baptist Church family. Mondays, join Coffee and Connect Bible Study. Tuesdays, it's Men's and Women's Fellowship. Connect with your brothers and sisters for topical discussion on relevant issues. Wednesdays, it's all about the youth, beginning at 7:30 p.m. Special Zoom sessions for nursery through high school. Thursdays, it's Breaking Bread with Bishop Mack, a Bible study addressing timely challenges from a biblical perspective. Thursdays at 8:30 p.m., it's Kaya, the networking and empowerment session for all young adults and young professionals. Fridays, get moving with Lady Kim on Fitness Friday. The exercise video can be viewed on the Union Baptist website or Facebook page any time of the day, beginning at 6:30 a.m. On the weekends, connect with Saturday Phone Line Worship. Saturday C2C Remix Motivational Services. Saturday Connect Worship Services, Sunday School Phone Line, Sunday Worship Services Phone Line, and online. Don't forget to call in each Saturday for our church chat with Bishop at 7 p.m. These calls are important for information about the ministry. Please visit the website for dates, times, and Zoom ID numbers for all these Connect services. And don't forget to stay safe. Wash those hands frequently. Avoid large crowds over the size of 10. Cover coughs and sneezes. Stay at home when you're sick. Don't hoard the food. The supply chain is fine right now. Have a blessed week.